Hello, basketball people, we have news. Let's go to more news about the Golden State Warriors. I ask you to give a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, as I am a Warriors fan. A trade between the Brooklyn Nets, Golden State Warriors, and Milwaukee Bucks is suggested so that the Warriors can finally acquire Giannis Antetokounmpo. Even if the Warriors pay a high price and part with draft picks and players like Jimmy Butler, Jonathan Kuminga, and Moses Moody, they could still contend for the championship with Giannis Antetokounmpo on the roster. With the NBA trade deadline rapidly approaching, the Golden State Warriors are on the clock. Golden State has been heavily linked with an interest in Giannis Antetokounmpo in recent weeks. The two-time MVP is expected to be open to leaving the Milwaukee Bucks. And, on paper, the Warriors could produce the best in-season trade package. In a recent article for Bleacher Report, Andy Bailey proposed a trade that could pair Giannis with Stephen Curry. The full trade idea looks like this. Warriors get Giannis Antetokounmpo, Kyle Kuzma, and Thanasis Antetokounmpo. Milwaukee Bucks get Jimmy Butler, Jonathan Kuminga, Zaire Williams, a 2026 first-round pick, a 2028 first-round pick, a 2031 first-round pick swap and a top 1 protected 2032 first-round pick from Golden State. Brooklyn Nets get Moses Moody. In the aftermath of this trade, Golden State still might not be favored against healthy Western Conference powerhouses like the Oklahoma City Thunder or Denver Nuggets, but the combination of Giannis and Curry, whose games almost seem tailor-made for each other, would give them a shot, Bailey wrote. And for all Curry has done for that organization for almost 2 decades, he's earned one last shot. It's worth noting that Draymond Green would not be involved in Bailey's trade idea. Therefore, Golden State's new-look veteran core would be built around Curry, Giannis, and Green. That's a solid foundation for success in the short term. Warriors have made pick-heavy trade offer. According to ESPN's Shams Charania, speaking via SportsCenter, Golden State has made a draft pick-heavy offer for Giannis. My understanding is the Warriors have made a pick-heavy offer, Charania said. The Bucks are going to have to choose if they want to take one of these offers or potentially wait until the offseason. The Warriors are able to offer multiple first-round picks, a plethora of young talent and proven veterans as salary matching. If a trade occurs before the February 5 deadline, Golden State should be in the driver's seat. Other interested parties may need to wait until the summer before making an offer, as they could then offer additional future picks. Steve Kerr has spoken with Draymond Green. Draymond Green has spent his entire career with the Golden State Warriors. However, the veteran forward is being discussed as a salary-matching makeweight in a potential trade for Giannis. When speaking on 95.7 The Game's Willard and Dibs, Warriors head coach Steve Kerr admitted that he's spoken with Draymond following the latest round of rumors. Draymond and I have talked about the trade rumors, Kerr said. I think what's really tricky for Draymond is this is the only place he's ever known. He's going to have a statue outside the building someday. Really weird position for him to be in for sure because there's never really been a time in his entire career where he even had to think about putting on another jersey. He's never been through this and it's definitely been on his mind. Golden State is clearly all in on adding Giannis to the current roster. If that means trading away Green, then that's likely what they'll choose to do. However, as shown by Bailey's trade proposal, moving Green isn't the only option available to Mike Dunleavy Jr. It's going to be fascinating to see how all this plays out with the trade deadline looming. Warriors have to hope one of these teams are ready to trade for Draymond Green. Who wants him? The Golden State Warriors want to trade for Giannis Antetokounmpo. They have also expressed that they want to keep Jimmy Butler. Add it all up, and the Warriors need to find a new home for franchise legend Draymond Green and they need to do it quickly. The Warriors' pursuit of Antetokounmpo is a surprise to no one. In addition to every team in the NBA loving the idea of adding a top 5 player, the Warriors in particular have long been linked to Giannis were he to ever hit the trade market. The friendship between Stephen Curry and Antetokounmpo has been documented, and the Greek superstar has ties to the Bay Area. Antetokounmpo also makes $54.1 million this season, and as a team over the first tax apron, the Warriors cannot take back more salary than they send out. That means stacking contracts up high enough to match that lofty number. The easiest way would be to trade Jimmy Butler and his own $54.1 million salary, but the reporting since Butler's injury confirmed by Mike Dunleavy Jr. himself is that the Dubs want to keep Butler through his rehab. Assuming for the moment that is true, there is only one other pathway to a Giannis trade, moving on from Draymond Green. That would be a titanic move for the franchise, moving on from a player who was the defensive backbone of 4 title teams and who has never played for another franchise. Yet there is no denying that Green's game is eroding as he ages, and his extracurricular activities have not endeared him to Steve Kerr and others in the organization over the years. There is one problem: the Bucks don't want Draymond. Not because they don't see his value as a player necessarily, but because they are entering a rebuild. They don't want to take back a veteran like Green with money owed next season. They want to get young players and draft picks. To pull off a trade for Giannis with Draymond involved, the Warriors need to find a third team for Green to join. Who could trade for Draymond Green? Here are 3 options for the franchise to call up. The Celtics could trade for Draymond Green. The Boston Celtics are having a surprisingly strong season even without Jason Tatum and the plethora of rotation players who walked out the door this past summer, including Warriors center Al Horford. The one spot they could use an upgrade is at center, and Draymond Green could be their small ball center option as a player who fits perfectly onto a winning team. The Celtics have a handful of their own draft picks available and the expiring salary of Anthony Simons to send to the Bucks. If they attached a first-round pick to Simons, that would be more appealing to the Bucks and add to the Warriors' overall haul of draft capital. It's a deal that could make sense for all 3 teams involved. If anyone in the entire league was prepared to handle Draymond Green, it's Boston coach Joe Mazzulla. The Pistons could trade for Draymond Green. Green is a proud Michigan native, growing up in Saginaw and attending Michigan State University. Because of that, a return home to the Detroit Pistons has been whispered for years. With the Pistons rising to the top of the Eastern Conference this season, now could be the right time for a homecoming. The Pistons are the second-best defensive team in the league and could lean even more into that identity, infusing a relatively young team with a veteran who has been to the finals before. The career-long Pistons have never won a playoff series, and Tobias Harris and Duncan Robinson aren't necessarily leaning into the champion narrative. Draymond? He could be the culture-setting veteran who knows what it takes to go all the way. Tobias Harris is on an expiring contract and could be swapped for Green alongside a pick, or the Pistons could build a package around Jaden Ivey and Karis LeVert instead. The Lakers could trade for Draymond Green. The Pistons would be leaning into a defensive identity. The Los Angeles Lakers desperately need to find a defensive identity, of any kind. They have the league's 25th ranked defense, inexplicably preventing a team with Luka Doncic, Austin Reeves, and LeBron James from being a real playoff threat. Draymond Green would change that instantly. He could be their playoff center ahead of DeAndre Ayton and set the tone for the Lakers. He and LeBron James are close, and if anyone was going to ensure LeBron gives his all on defense at 41 years old, it will be Green. The Lakers could build an intriguing package starting with Rui Hachimura's expiring contract and Dalton Knecht as a prospect along with a first-round swap. Whether one of these teams or another option emerges to take on Draymond Green, it would be shocking for the Warriors to pull off a Giannis Antetokounmpo trade involving Green and not route him to another team. To do what they are attempting to do, it means sending the 4-time champion to a new home. Steve Kerr gets honest about trade talks with Draymond. For the second year in a row, the Golden State Warriors are linked to one of the NBA's biggest trade candidates. The difference this time around is that the franchise's future legend, Draymond Green, is getting tossed in some hypothetical talks. It's not necessarily something the Warriors have been able to block out. In fact, the rumors have sparked conversations behind the scenes between Warriors head coach Steve Kerr and Draymond Green. On Monday, Kerr confirmed that much. "I think what's really tricky for Draymond is this is the only place he's ever known. He's going to have a statue outside the building someday," Kerr told 95.7 The Game on Monday. Really weird position for him to be in for sure, because there's never really been a time in his entire career where he's had to think about putting on another jersey. He's never been through this, and it's definitely been on his mind. The Warriors plan to continue running with a core 3 of Steph Curry, Jimmy Butler, and Green throughout the 2025 to 2026 NBA season. Any deal likely would have been on a smaller scale, keeping Green in the Golden State through the remainder of the season. Butler's injury formed a shakeup. A torn ACL, resulting in a season-ending recovery timeline, has the Warriors reportedly swinging for the fences. The Warriors are one of several teams rumored to be in the hunt for Giannis Antetokounmpo of the Milwaukee Bucks. If the Warriors and the Bucks get close to striking a deal, Green's $25.8 million salary could get involved. While the struggling Bucks wouldn't be an ideal scenario for the veteran forward, another team taking part in the trade could lead the multi-time champion to a more favorable situation. Whether he's moved or not, Green will have some contract power before June 29. The 35-year-old forward has a $27.6 million player option for next year. He doesn't have to stay on his current deal and could test the open market in 2026. Green recently attacked trade rumors in front of a scrum of reporters by simply stating that he wasn't losing sleep over the talks, as it's a part of the business. His worry meter might be low, but the fact that he's having discussions about it with Steve Kerr proves that it's not a far-fetched idea. The four-time All-Star has remained productive as a starter on both ends of the floor. Keeping up with his career average of 8 points and 5 assists per game, while maintaining strong defense, Green can be a solid addition for a contender this year. While the Warriors still value him highly, the idea of acquiring Antetokounmpo has been on their minds for quite some time. The Bucks aren't guaranteed to part ways with Giannis before Thursday's deadline, but the Warriors are still expected to remain in play until they are shut out. As a result, Green will continue to get talked about. Celtics could steal Draymond Green from the Warriors if blockbuster trade happens. Could Draymond Green be wearing green in the coming days? As the Warriors grow more desperate in their pursuit of Giannis Antetokounmpo, it's starting to feel like just about anything short of trading Steph Curry is on the table, and that includes parting with Draymond Green. Mark Stein, Jake Fisher, and others have been reporting that Jimmy Butler isn't expected to be dealt after suffering a season-ending ACL tear, which means to make the money work for Giannis, any deal must include Green and Jonathan Kuminga. That would, of course, be a tough pill for the Warriors to swallow, as Green has become a franchise icon, the last holdover from the start of the dynasty, along with Curry and Steve Kerr. But desperate times call for desperate measures, and if that's the price for Giannis, they have little choice but to pay it. But where would that leave Draymond? At 35 years old, he would make little sense on a post-Giannis Bucks team, which would mean another team would likely get involved, or Milwaukee would look to immediately flip him in a corresponding move. In Fisher's latest piece for Stein's Substack, he reported that the market for Green may not be strong at this juncture and speculated that the Celtics could consider flipping Anthony Simons for the four-time champion. Adding Draymond would be a high-risk endeavor. While the cost to acquire would be reasonable, adding Green would come with a ton of risk. For one, he's clearly not the same player he once was, even on the defensive end. He's still good, but it's hard to project just how much he has left and what it might look like playing without Curry for the first time. Then there's the matter of his contract. It's slightly lower than Simons for this season, at $25.89 million, but he also has a player option at $27.68 million for next season, which has the potential to look pretty ugly, although it could have some value as an expiring. And on top of everything else, there's the massive personality that comes along with Green. The Celtics have an extremely strong culture with great leadership from Brad Stevens, Joe Mazzulla, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, and others. Bringing in a wild card like Green to the mix has disastrous potential, and it's not too difficult to imagine a scenario where things fly completely off the rails.